Hey, everybody. Thought I would just kind of hit you face to face to talk about summer reading a little bit more. A lot of this may be just review of what's written below, but still, it's the face. The face helps. And so, first, notice that the assignment is very simple, but for some, it may be deceptively simple because of the amount of choice. If you've ever been hungry, but you don't know what you want to eat, if you ever feel overwhelmed when you go to the supermarket because there are just so many choices, you might hit the same thing here with this, but focus on the fact that you do have the choice. That's what we really want to hit with. As long as it's not a YA book, and we'll talk about that in a second, like really go with it. Find something that interests you. And most importantly, hear this. You are the best arbiter for what is appropriate for you. You know your values, you know your beliefs, you know the things that are important to you and your family. And so if you're reading a book and it's uncomfortable, you don't like what's there, you don't have to read it. There's absolutely no requirement there. So if you need to do a little bit of research, do a little bit of research. See what it's about. Don't be afraid to use the public library. On the assignment, we said, use the resources. Don't pay full price for this. Please don't. So give it a browse first to make sure it's something that you like and go with it. Second, let's talk about the YA thing. Just stay away from them. It comes down to a couple of simple things. So when we look at a YA novel like, I don't even know, Hunger Games, Harry Potter, I know they're older. I don't know this stuff. When we're looking at it, one, they mostly focus on plot. They're progressive plot books. Something happens, something else happens, something else happens, a complication happens, but there's not a whole lot of development. The development kind of is the stone rolling down the hill rather than a natural sequential development that helps. Characters, one character may change or evolve, but for the most part, they're all flat. They're all basic. They're all one-dimensional. And so when we look at that, there's not a whole lot of great developmental writing there, but there's also not a lot of great writing. They may be good and entertaining, but they're not going to be lasting novels. You kind of ask yourself, if you weren't the nostalgic person that wanted to reread something from your childhood, is this a book that you're going to pick up in 30 years, 40 years? Maybe not. My big thing is we need this book. Reading the book is great, but we want it to be useful to you. And you may read this book in June, and then we're talking about it in August, and you're like, I don't remember. Do me a favor and take some notes. If you have no idea how to take notes over a book, I have linked a Google slide kind of walkthrough of some basic things that you can take note of and kind of write down and have as a resource for when we come back to it. I always encourage some simple tricks for note-taking as well to help yourself. Your best tool as a literature student are sticky notes. And they don't have to be anything special. They don't have to be anything amazing. You can do two things with them. First, none of these have it. Excuse me for just a moment while I try to find a good resource for this. Perfect. First, you'll notice here when you look at the edge, you can see those sticky notes that are sticking out and all over the inside of the book too. They work great for taking little notes. They work great for just kind of capturing your thinking on the page. They also work great because you can take a pair of scissors and cut them into strips, and then you have little flags so that you can flag the page and come back to it later. So sticky notes are your best friend. Keep a pack with you and use it as you read. That Google slide will kind of walk you through, hey, what do you look for? We know how to read a book. Absolutely. But how do we study the book? What do we pay attention to? How do we take note of stuff? It may just help you out a little bit. And then I don't care about the format of your notes. Remember, the notes aren't the assignment. The assignment's to read the book. The notes are simply to help you because what ultimately matters is retention. The format of your notes doesn't matter. The retention matters. I need you to remember this in August. I need you to remember this in December. I need you to remember this on the AP test because this book may be useful to you in the long run. And so just make sure, take some notes, have some things for you. This year is a little different, a little strange, a little weird because of the online thing. And for a lot of you, I'm going to be meeting you for the first time in August, even though I've worked with you all year. I don't know your face. I don't know any of that. But I am going to tell you that I do know your work ethic. I do know your writing style. I know a lot about you. But you need to know that August is a fresh start. We start brand new. What's important about that is maybe this year didn't work out the way you wanted it to. Maybe your work didn't always come in on time. Maybe your work wasn't always to the quality that you personally strive for. Guess what? We start fresh in August. But I'm going to tell you, if you show up in August and you didn't do this, you're automatically blowing your fresh start. Because if you had a bad track record through this year on getting assignments in, on being reliable, on doing your stuff, and you show up in August and you didn't do this, it's not going to look good for you. And I want you to look great when we come back in August. It's going to be nice to see your face. It's going to be nice to see your whole everything in 3 dimensions in front of me with a full class full of students. It'll be awesome. So if you have questions, send me an email. If you're not sure on book titles, hey, I've got a list there. Take a look through the list. The list isn't a requirement. The list is just, hey, what are some suggestions of books that I like that would work great for this assignment? If you aren't sure, I'll check email over the summer. Don't expect that I'm going to get back to you the same day. I got a kid, I got a life, and you're not a part of it in the summer. So I'll check it at least every week or so. Be sure to ask the question. I'll get back to you, I promise. Have a wonderful summer. Thank you for working as hard as you did this year. I guess I'll see you next year.